What is up, everybody? I am the Dharma Guy, and here with the Dope Doctor. When you're listening to Dharma Time on WPSN99.com, the Problem Solving Network.
That's right.
You know what we do here on the Problem Solving Network?
Solve problems.
We stream solutions. That's what we do.
That's right.
That's all right. That's okay.
How did I get that wrong?
Hey, you tell me, man. I don't know.
Doing producer stuff.
Anyways, what's up, everybody? Welcome. It is Tuesday. I'm feeling a little under the weather right now.
You've been under the weather.
I know I have been. You know, it got worse when we got back.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's crazy. We just flew back in from Vegas, and boy, are my arms tired.
A little Bob Hope or something like that from back then.
Yeah, right. But the reason why I bring up Vegas, other than the fact that we just got back, that's what the show's going to be about essentially today. Is
Vegas?
Yeah. Well, not Vegas per se, but there was some things that I witnessed while in Vegas, and there were some conversations that took place pre and post Vegas that made me think of something.
Okay.
And so, you know what? Let's just jump into it. Why not?
Okay.
We'll deal with all the other stuff later. Let's get started.
Jump right in.
And first of all, let me apologize to everybody if I have to clear my throat or anything in here.
Let me clear my throat.
You know what? That's funny. That's the first thing that popped in my head, too.
Love that song.
But no, as you can tell, I'm under the weather. My voice is just coming back. And so I apologize ahead of time. This will be, I don't know. Some people like the raspiness. Who knows? I don't know. I have to ask my wife. She's mad at me right now, though. So
is she mad?
She's mad at me.
Is she raspy, too, though?
She's squeaky.
No, I don't like squeaky.
we both sounded horrible, man. We both went to the doctor yesterday. This is horrible.
So you got raspy and squeaky.
Yeah. Anyways, here's the thing, right? So I posted yesterday on my social media. For those of you who are following me, at the Dharma Guy, you saw my social media. For those of you who aren't following me, what's up with that, dude? Like, really?
Yeah.
Anyways, so I posted a picture. It was a cool picture of a cat, right? It was like half and half.
Okay.
And the reason why I did that was I talked about being two-faced, right? And I think two-faced, it can kind of go in a multitude of directions.
Yeah.
When some people hear two-faced, what they hear is maybe talking like being cool to somebody in their face, and then maybe talking bad about them behind their face.
Yeah.
That's one direction it can go.
That's one aspect.
Another aspect, which is what I'm going to focus the majority of my time on today, although I don't mind covering them all because let's just get crazy like that. The other one that really kind of stood out to me was, have you ever heard the phrase, and I already know the answer to this, but so it's more of a rhetorical, but feel free to answer. No. Have you ever heard the phrase, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas?
Yes, all the time.
So when people found out we were going to Vegas, everybody was like saying, hey, have fun, don't do this, don't do that, and what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
That's right.
The assumption was that a lot of debauchery and craziness was going to take place.
Right.
And, I joined in with the laughing and the giggling and stuff, but there was a part of me that was thinking to myself, like, do you really not know me? Like, do I strike you as somebody that's just going to go to Vegas and completely lose his mind and turn into somebody else? And that got me to thinking that, like, I think that happens a lot.
Well, you saw how accepting it was. I mean, everybody kind of said it.
Yeah.
I mean, the employees there. Yeah. They kind of all, like, push it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if I'm cool with that, right? Like, there were some people there that we interacted with. Right. That I saw some of the stuff that they were doing behind the scenes kind of deal. Yeah. And I knew I found out through talking to them their living arrangements. And then some of the stuff that they were participating in while we were out there, I'm not down with.
Nobody in our direct group.
Correct.
We should say that, by the way.
But I know I'm not down with it.
Right.
You're not down with it. But a lot of people are. And I think that's my problem, right? Is I think there's a lot of situations where it's kind of like expected, right? Where either something is as far to the extreme as going to Vegas. Right. Or even just as, when in Rome type of deal. Like, let's say you're hanging out, something as small as, let's say you're at the office, and there's somebody that you're friends with or maybe you like, and then everybody around is like cracking on this person or joking or making fun of them, and you join in, just because you're there, you're going to join into the stuff, whatever. Right. So, I think that's part of it, right? Yeah. So for me, that's what got me to thinking is I think that's all too expected, I think, nowadays. Yeah. I've had some really good friends in my life that I don't know, I was probably in my late 20s when it first happened, which is sad, right? Because it took me to my late 20s before I experienced it. But I had a friend of mine that was in a group, and this was back when I worked at the Postal Service. Yeah. And once again, because of my demeanor, a lot of people didn't interact with me. Yeah. But those people had opinions of me. And so a lot of those people were conversing and talking, and my friend just so happened to be in that group, and he stood up for me. He's like, "Hold up, no, you guys don't really know him." Like,
That's
he doesn't.
nice.
And so that was like first time I experienced in my life like a good true friend. It was like around other people who wanted to talk some schmack, but was like, "No, like I'm not going to participate in this,
Right.
and I'm going to correct you guys."
Right.
Like that's some loyalty right there. That's true friendship.
That is cool.
And so I think that's kind of the thing is
And somebody that didn't misjudge you. They knew you on a deeper level.
yeah. But I think that we have to what matters is what you do when nobody's watching. You know what I mean? Like that's the important part. It's one thing to kind of do the quote unquote right thing, if you will, when you know everybody's watching you or you're around your loved ones and you can get in direct trouble. It's another thing to do the right thing when you're not around them. You know, when you think you can get away with it or something like that. Like the whole Vegas thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who go to Vegas and say, "Hey, I can do whatever I want out here and they'll never get back." Let me interrupt this broadcast real quick to let you know. This whole idea of what happens in Vegas. No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, it doesn't. Whatever happens in Vegas, trust me, it comes home. Whether you want it to or not, it comes home. You might not think it will, but first of all, in any relationship, the truth always comes out. Somehow, some way, it comes out. Number two, if you wind up with some sort of disease, don't think that the disease is going to stay in Vegas. It's coming home with you. So, and not only that, but the guilt and the mental hurdles that you're going to have to jump over to feel good about certain things, that comes home with you too.
Right.
You know, those decisions don't just stop in Vegas or wherever.
Or the consequences.
Exactly.
I mean, the consequences follow you way past Vegas.
Yeah. I think that, and this to me goes kind of back to the whole right or happy thing, right? You know, let's stick with that.
Okay.
That analogy real quick.
Okay.
Like to Vegas.
Okay.
You know, so it's very easy to go to Vegas and get caught up in the whole the gambling and the nightlife and the drinking or
the
whatever.
whole deal.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people who would say, you know, you're right about, maybe you slip up and you make out with somebody or you have sex with somebody or you gamble and you're not supposed to, or, you do something you're not supposed to do. I think there'd be a whole lot of people out there that would agree with that's Vegas, man. What do you expect, right?
Yeah.
And so
except the one left at home.
So that's the whole you could be right or you could be happy thing.
Right.
You can be right. Yeah, you're right. It's Vegas. It's expected. Everybody loves it. But is that really going to make you happy? When you come home and you have to look that person in the face, or you come home and you got to deal with the empty bank account, or you come home and you deal with all the bad decisions that you made. And it's not just Vegas. It's anywhere.
Right.
And so that's what, the whole idea is you got to choose happiness, man.
It's really any business trip, only in other places it's not as promoted as like Vegas.
Oh, and Vegas does a great job promoting it.
So even though, for a business, because I travel a lot on business, and so, I know that there's certain looks or ideas that people have about people like me that travel.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can kind of see it and feel it.
Oh, yeah.
So I tend not to hang out, like in the lobby, for instance.
Right.
I'm not going to go to a hotel
and just drink in the lobby
and then just go sit in the lobby because there's a look to that.
Yeah, well, it looks like you're waiting on something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I stay up in my room. Dude, I get food and I go sit up in my room.
Yeah.
I stay up in my room at so many hotels, and I always joke how I don't even get to experience the city in these cities that I go. I just know all the Marriotts and the Hiltons.
Well, that was the thing, right? Like, I remember when you and I did a trip up to Nashville when I was up there for Journey Pier.
Yeah.
One of our sponsors, thank you very much. When I was up there doing a group for them, you were telling me to go check out certain things. And
right.
I didn't really, I didn't want to be out. If it was you and me together, it's different.
It's a whole different ballgame.
But if it's going on by myself, it creates a potential dynamic that I'm just not interested in dealing with.
Well, I wanted Jamie to take you out or Patrick.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were busy. They were busy running a
company.
Large company.
Right.
But for me, it's just that's my thing, right? And that's the whole point I'm trying to get across today.
Right.
Is you got to be you, man. Be who you want to be who you're trying to be.
Everywhere.
Be the person that you're presenting to the world all the time.
Right.
Not just when it's convenient, not just when it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my thing is people who truly know me, they know that the idea that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas was never going to be part of my vocabulary, and
it used to be a part of mine, but it was what happens around me stays around me.
Right.
So that was before Dana, though.
But you had different goals back then. You were a different person.
It was my lifestyle then.
But to me, I think that's the reason why we get the fulfillment that we do get.
Right.
Is because we are who we are.
Yeah.
I don't change based upon who I'm around and where I'm at.
Right. And I think right there is the important point, Trinity, to be honest with you, is you don't alter who you are as a person based on your demographic. I mean, the demographic you're in and the geographic location that you're in.
Exactly.
So just because you're around these people or just because you're in this place shouldn't change who you are.
No.
You know, demographics and geographics are what they are, but you are always you.
Well, not only that, but none of these people are going to live your life. You know, like the people who are cheering you on while you're doing something stupid, they're not the ones who are going to have to deal with whatever the consequences are later on.
Well, some people try to live vicariously through you.
Sure, of course.
And so sometimes you have opportunities available to you that they may not have.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, if you and I would, let's take that same trip. You and I single on that same exact trip. That's an entirely different trip.
It probably would
not only for us, but for those around us.
Yeah. It probably would have been a lot different.
Yeah.
Having said
probably. Wait a minute. Did you just say probably?
Who knows? I was sick, bro. So.
Oh, please, Trinity. That same trip, single, is guaranteed to be a different trip.
Probably, yeah.
He keeps saying probably.
Well, I'm non-committal right now, man. But no, because the thing is with that is I'm a different person single than I am married, and that's why. Like my mentality.
Probably.
My mentality would have followed me for sure, right? But I think that and one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it up was number one, of course, everybody was just way too comfortable promoting that for some reason, and I didn't get down with that. Number one,
well, they do commercials on that.
They do, and number two, the reason why I wanted to promote it is because I see that a lot in day-to-day life. Though I see a lot of times people will say and do things that to me are just out of character, and then they get some results or some consequences that they don't like or they're upset with. And it's like, well, what'd you expect, man? Like, you went outside of who you are. So when you go outside of who you are, you're going to get some consequences that you're not wanting.
But here's the thing you're missing, Trinity.
What's that?
What if that's exactly who they are? I think it exposes who you really are. If you go to Vegas and you become Vegas based on that, then that's exactly who you are. And lady or man, run from that dude or that person.
Well, I would say who you are is someone who doesn't know who they are yet.
Because if your wife or husband goes to Las Vegas and becomes Las Vegas while they're there and forgets all about you at home and violates all the responsibilities of that home and that relationship that you have, then maybe that's exactly who they are.
Well, I would have a hard time thinking that somebody who goes to Vegas and just becomes completely, full of debauchery and everything else. I have a hard time believing that's the only place.
Oh, I think people go there specifically for the debauchery.
I'm sure they do, but I have a hard time believing that person's like a well-behaved, perfect person at home. Like, I'm sure that they got somebody on the side then. Because once again, that mentality doesn't just show up out of nowhere.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Just, probably less options back at home.
Correct.
Less ability to do it without consequence at home.
Sure.
I mean, I think that, when you go out to a place like that, it's easier probably to lie and cheat and steal, you know what I mean? But it's still, what I'm saying is that it's not an excuse. I never like alcohol as an excuse to go outside of who you are. Right. I never like a location to go outside of who you are, or a friendship.
Well, the alcohol, we found out that's just not even true, right?
That's right.
It doesn't make you do anything. You do what you wanted to do anyways.
Right.
You just feel better about it.
It's expectation.
Yeah.
There's more research that says the expectation of what alcohol does to you is exactly what you get.
Exactly. But for me, on that note, though, I don't get it, right? Like, I don't get the whole concept of not being who you are. Maybe that's just because I've always been that person. But I don't understand, like, for instance, if you're married or in a girlfriend or, in a relationship, I should say, why? Like, why go outside of that relationship just because you're in Vegas or wherever? What's the point then of having the relationship? You don't have to have a relationship these days, guys. Like, there's millions of single people. Like, why commit? Why lie to somebody? Why why deal with all the extracurriculars that come with the relationship?
The fighting.
Yeah. Like, why? That was a polite way of saying it. But yeah, why deal with the fighting, the arguing, the expectations, all these other things that come with a relationship, the work, if you will.
Right.
To just to do something on the side. Like, what's the point? Like, I don't understand that.
I deal with the arguments and the fighting because it's what I want. Yeah. I'll take the fights and arguments.
Well, because it balances out because we have
the good times.
Yeah, we have the good times, so it balances out and it works.
Thank you very much, Dana, for last night.
But happy birthday, Dana. By the way,
that's right.
This show will air, so happy birthday.
It was her birthday, yet I feel like I got all the gifts. Happy birthday, Dana.
Well, and Angels is coming up in a couple days, so
I'll tell her that.
Angel. There you go.
Oh, that's right. Well, this show's once a week, so happy birthday, Angel.
But anyways, I digress. I just don't understand that point. Like, be who you are, right? If you're a type of person who wants to sleep around or whatever, then don't be. Dude, we got Tinder now. Like they didn't have Tinder when I was younger. It's like there's so many ways to get what you want. Why pretend to be something you're not?
There is no reason to be
Why
in an
hurt
unhappy
people
situation.
and things of that nature? Why? You know, and if you're trying to find happiness in life, you're not going to find it by pretending.
Right.
You're not going to find it by living this double life.
Yeah.
Being one person to these people and another person out here. Be who you are all the time, and then find the life that fits within that.
See, but again, I think I'm struggling when you say be who you are all the time. I think I'm struggling with that.
Go ahead.
Because I feel that's who they are.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Be that person.
Oh, okay. All
Like,
right,
don't
maybe
pretend.
I won't struggle
If you're the
anymore.
type of
You're
person
right.
that wants to
Okay.
sleep around, then go sleep around.
Okay.
Be
I
who
see what
you are.
I guess I was interpreting it wrong. I was interpreting it that you meant be who you are, meaning be the loyal person all the
No,
time.
if that's not who you are, then don't be that.
Right.
Don't fake it in life. Dude, if you're the type of person that wakes up every day and you struggle with the idea that I'm sleeping with the same person today, if you struggle with the idea that I've got to live this responsible, stop.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Like, go.
Don't do it for the kids.
Yeah, you can trust me because the kids know.
Yeah, don't do it for the money.
So, like you don't have to do that.
Right.
So be who you're going to be, and you'll be happier that person.
Right.
You'll be happier not trying to fake it all the time.
Right.
Because that's a lot of that's got to be a miserable life, dude. To pretend to be somebody you're not, a lot.
Or at least you'll realize that your happiness was not based on that quicker.
Right.
You know, because if you stay in that situation, you may blame that other person for your lack of happiness when your lack of happiness may be something a little bit more deeper rooted, something a little bit more something that you can change. And then by leaving, you might realize, damn, I was happier all along. I just wasn't holding on to it. I wasn't accepting it. I wasn't appreciating it.
Right.
Because they always get hot when you leave.
Yeah.
You know, why don't you leave your wife so she can get hot again? Because maybe she's out of shape. Maybe she's gained a lot of weight. Maybe she's not taking care of herself because you're depressing the crap out of her.
Right.
Why don't you leave, let her get hot again, so when you try to come back, she could say no.
Yeah, sorry,
you
missed this one.
You should have been here. I sat here while your butt was getting fat and ugly, and I dealt with you.
Well, I think that. Like the what I originally wanted to call it, but I didn't want to get too Buddhist on everybody.
Okay.
Is
because this is Dharma Time.
It is Dharma Time.
Yeah.
But when I promoted it, I try to speak to everybody,
I
not just Buddhists.
Okay.
But the name of the show, in my mind, like when I wrote it down here, I wrote down right action. And right action is essentially one of the Eightfold Path. And right action just states simply, you do the right thing, kind of a thing. Right. It's not enough to think about it. You actually have to physically do it. Other words, if you're the type of person who is saying all the right things to people, like if you're in a relationship or a friendship or whatever it may be, and you're telling them essentially what they want to hear, that's great and all, but it means absolutely nothing if the second you walk out the door, you do everything the opposite. So actions, there's old cliche, actions speak louder than the words.
Right.
And there's so much truth to that. If somebody walks up to you and says, hey, I love you, and then they punch you in the face, which one are you going to walk away remembering? The I love you or being punched in the face?
Right.
So actions do speak louder than words. So it's not about what you say. It's not about your mentality. You can read all the right books and have all the right philosophies and think all the right things. But if when push comes to shove, you're going to do the wrong thing, it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you told them yesterday.
Yeah.
And I see so much of that. I see so much of people saying one thing and doing another. And then they walk away feeling so unhappy about life. They feel depressed. They feel like everything's happening to them and what's life. But they don't stop to realize, like, hold up, bro. Like, this is your fault. Because you're out there saying one thing and you're doing another. Yeah. So you gotta have that real heart to heart with yourself and stop and say, what is it do I really want?
Yeah.
And when you find out what you really want, go for it. Grab onto it with both hands and walk that direction.
Seriously.
For real. Like, that's what's going to bring you happiness.
Right.
And at the end of the day, that's what spirituality helps. Spirituality helps you find whatever that is to you that gives you that fulfillment and helps you stay dedicated to that. Because I do truly believe that's what makes so many people unhappy, is this idea that I can talk about one thing but do another.
Yeah, claim that life of yours,
Yeah,
man. Just claim it.
Be it.
Stick that flag in your life and just like, this is mine.
Exactly.
Be it 100%. I mean, there is a lot more happiness in that, is what you're saying. There's a lot more enjoyment where you just claim your life the way it is.
Absolutely.
Rather than trying to claim someone else's existence or fantasies. You know what I mean?
It can change. Right. That's the thing. Like, I'll use me as an example. Dude, I was living a single life.
Right.
I didn't want kids. I didn't want to be married. I didn't want any of that.
Yep.
And for many, many years, I didn't have that. I partied all the time. I went to Miami all the time. I lived it up, and that was the life that I wanted. And I made no bones about it. Any females that I interacted with, I made sure I told them flat out, look, man, I'm not Mr. Right. I'm not marriage material. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
I didn't want kids, and I was open and honest about that to everybody.
Yeah.
And no matter how many times
I remember those days.
Yeah. No matter how many times people would tell me, "Oh, you're young, you're going to want different." Nope, this is who I am.
Right.
If that day comes, then that day comes. But right now, nope, this is who I am. And I didn't falter. I didn't lie to people. I didn't tell them what they wanted to hear. No, this is who I am. Either get with it or don't. And then it changed. And now that it's changed, now I'm all, look, I'm married, I got my kids, I love my life. But I've evolved, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I've changed who I am. I just evolved what my priorities are.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But you got to know where you're at. And like you said, put your flag in it, man. This is where I'm at right now. This is where I'm at in my life. You know, I have a lot of respect for a lot of people who say to me that they're too selfish to have kids. You know, when some people say that, they're like, oh, you know what? At least you're honest enough to know that. If you say to yourself you're too selfish to have kids, then if that's how you feel, then maybe you should avoid it for now.
I think many of us are.
Sure.
I mean, but.
Well, I was until I got my kids, and it changed.
No, I mean, I think, you know, there's a part of you that's selfish to have kids. You know, we're all a little bit too selfish to have kids. I think, but then you realize a different kind of level of happiness or fulfillment, and it kind of changes that whole ideology. I think. I think
met people that it didn't.
Well,
you can.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's no. I don't know if you can really. What is that dinging?
That's somebody sent me a text message.
Oh, okay. I don't think we can actually know if you're going to be that person or not. But if you have any hints or thought that you're that person, then by all means, don't have kids.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I respect that. Like, if somebody sits here and tells me, hey, I'm too... That's the other thing, right? That's our responsibility as the friends, is to hold them accountable. And if somebody tells you who they are, believe them, right?
Right.
So if somebody sits here and says, hey, look, I'm not going to have kids right now because I'm just too selfish. I don't want to take care of something.
Right.
I'm not going to be like, oh, come on, you need that. No. Like, oh, you know what? That's cool. I can respect that. Right. And if the day ever changes where you're willing to have them, I can respect that too. My job as a friend is to be here, support you, hold you accountable, things of that nature.
Yeah.
It's not to put my hopes and dreams on you, right? If this isn't what you want, then by all means, I respect that person. Mm-hmm. I respect them more than the person who does what they think everybody else wants and then completely messes it up.
Right.
I respect the person who says, hey, I'm not going to have kids or a marriage or relationship right now because that's just not where I'm at in my headspace. Than the person who gets kids and gets, becomes a bad parent and a bad relationship all because that's what they thought they should do. I have much respect for the other person. Yeah. And that person might grow. They could totally evolve. I did.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't want kids at all, and now I got 4 of them. I didn't want marriage. I didn't want to grow, and now I have one, and I'm happy with it. So
like gremlins. Like somebody dropped water on you and fed you after midnight.
Exactly. What happened in my life, man?
They didn't listen to the rules.
No, they did not. No, they did not.
Somebody changed the clock back and threw water on you.
Exactly. But no, I seriously think though that the idea of actions, speak louder than words, really has to resonate with people. Yeah. I really do. And the other half of that equation, I mentioned it briefly there. Another important factor, I think, is picking the right friends. All right, you are what you hang around, type of deal. There's a multitude of those. Friends are like elevators that take you up, to take you down. I can't claim that one though. I took that one from Mark Merrow. He's a friend of mine. I stole that one from him. But you also have you go to bed with dogs, you wake up with fleas, that kind of stuff. But it's true, right? Because that's the other thing I noticed. If I come across somebody, maybe they're not my friend, I just kind of know them, an acquaintance. If I see them doing stuff that I feel is out of character, one of my thoughts is like, do you not have anybody in your life that can kind of ground you a little bit to say, hey, what are you doing? Yeah. Right? Like, I think you and I had that kind of relationship. I think that if one of us was doing something that was completely out of character, I think the other one would be like, hey, bro, like, what's the deal here? Yeah. And I think that that's important. I think it's important for us to surround yourself with people that have loyalty to you personally, not just the yes man. Yeah. But somebody that can, because I have a really good friend of mine, Terrence, that back in the day I used to always call him when I was dealing with stuff, whatever. I call him up and be like, look, dude, am I wrong here? Like, I would always start that. And because I knew he would tell me, yeah, you're being an idiot right now, or whatever, I knew he would give me his honest answer.
Yeah, for sure.
And to me, that's a real friend. A real friend isn't always going to just take your side. A real friend isn't always just going to back you up and be like, yeah, dude, that person's crazy. No, they're gonna be like, well, you went overboard on that one, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I was in Vegas, like I would think that like if either one of us when we were in Vegas, this whole what happens in Vegas, whatever.
Yeah.
If you and I were over there and either one of us started doing something stupid,
All right.
I think the other one would have pulled him aside and said, dude, what are you doing? Like this is out of character for you. What's going on here? And I think that's important because I think that sometimes what we value in friends, right? We value in friends that unadulterated loyalty, that like enable kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
The codependency and stuff like that. I think that we value those things as opposed to valuing things that are really going to help make a friendship better and be a true friend.
Yeah.
And then we get upset because it's not a true friend, right? Well, a true friend is going to be the one that's going to tell you when you're messing up.
Yeah.
A true friend is going to hold you accountable to who you've shown that you want to be in life.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that we're all perfect because we all have moments of weakness. We
Right.
all have decisions we got to make every single day in our lives.
Right. And I think we experienced a little of that also in Vegas. There was, there's people around us during that whole time period that we may know or are acquaintances with, but they're not really true friends.
Right.
And therefore, if they stepped outside of any kind of boundary that you and I wouldn't step out, we talked about it and said, well, it's not our place.
Yeah.
Whereas we even said, if it was you or me, I'd let you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a difference between friends and acquaintances.
Yeah.
Acquaintances will let you bump your head a little bit more.
Well, of course.
Then a friend will pull you back and say, nah, you ain't doing that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that's part of finding true friendship, right? And then that's part of not being two-faced even. Is like, if I'm your friend, man, like, I'm your friend, period. I don't care if we're in New Smyrna or if we're in Vegas. Like, I'm your friend. And if I think something's wrong here, I'm going to think it's wrong in Vegas. And I'm going to say something about it.
Right.
Now, granted.
And it's your job to do that.
Well, not only that, but you're a grown man, so you're going to make your own decisions.
Right.
I can't make you do anything.
Right.
But I wouldn't feel right as a friend if I just step forward and be like, hey,
right.
This is how this looks, bro.
For real.
Is this what you're going for?
For real.
But what I was getting at, though, was I think that we all have moments of weakness. We all have things that we go through in life. We all have, tough decisions that we come across, some tougher than others.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't think somebody's like a bad person, for instance, if they go to Vegas and they get tempted. Like, thoughts are one thing.
Yeah.
You can think all you want. You can be tempted all you want. You can have options, be like, oh, dude, man, like, maybe I want to. It's what you do.
Yeah.
Is there a line that you just crossed, right?
Yeah.
And for me, that line is way over here. Like, I won't even flirt.
Right.
I flirt because I'm just a nice, charismatic individual.
Right.
But there's a difference between that and like, I'm gonna take down your number, that kind of stuff.
Well, there's a difference between flirting where it can be both, where it can be just charisma or just flirtation,
Right.
as opposed to flirtation where you're thirsty.
Yeah.
And you're behaving thirsty.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're disrespecting whoever you're wearing that ring for.
Exactly.
Because you should never flirt to the point where you're disrespecting that ring.
Yeah.
I don't care where you are. And I don't even care if they know the person or not know the person. There's a line that you shouldn't cross. Now, people may interpret it, and they do, because people interpret what they want to.
Perception is reality.
For instance, guys like to believe if you just say hi to them, ladies, they just think you want to be with them. I mean, especially if it's out of the blue.
Yeah.
If you're just walking by their direction and make eye contact, they think you like them.
Yeah.
If you say hi, you want to sleep with them.
Yeah.
It's just the way the man's brain works.
Pretty much.
So that's why women tend to just try to stay as like looking forward as possible and not look around.
Right.
It must be hard to be a lady and survey the area.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Because
I wouldn't want to do it.
I'm allowed to survey the area, and if they think, and they probably think the same thing too. Oh, he likes me. I'm thinking, no.
No.
I've
had that though. I've had
no.
like I can't remember one time there was like a lady in the supermarket or something like that I was standing next to, and she smelled like fantastic, and so I told her, wow, you smell really good. And I was like, what is that? I was thinking because like, it smells my wife wearing it smells fantastic,
right.
But in her mind she gave me this weird look, like I'm getting ready to accost her or something. Like, well, hold up, lady. First of all, no, never gonna happen. Right. Like, relax. I'm just asking you what you smell like. Chill. So I've had that before.
I experienced that in Miami. There was this much older lady, and I said, wow, you have really nice eyes. She behaved initially as if she was my age. Just the look on her face and the thank you, and then for a moment there I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I probably can't do that anymore. She goes, oh no, you can still do that. Beautiful eyes are beautiful eyes.
Right.
So she's used to it. But I mean, she had really tremendous eyes. But I
right.
mean, but the point is that for a moment there, I felt like, did I cross a boundary?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that was weird. But the only reason I felt safe is because she was like
Much older.
much older. And they were very nice eyes.
Sure.
So she probably heard it all her life. It's probably her best feature.
Right.
And they never go away. I mean, you could be 90 and still have beautiful
hopefully
eyes.
not, unless you get a cataract or something, I guess.
Oh, that would be horrible to the eyes.
That would be horrible, right?
Damn it.
But this isn't just like this isn't just a romantic relationship either. I mean, this has to do with friendships, coworkers, things of that nature. You'll notice in life, man, like you said, if you stake your flag and just be that person. One thing I've noticed over my life that I appreciate in others that seems to be appreciated like universally,
right.
consistency. People like to know what they're going to get.
Yeah.
If you're just the same person all the time, people love that.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, it doesn't mean you can't grow and evolve.
Yeah.
But there's certain fundamental issues that you're just going to be that person. Like
predictable.
My likes and dislikes, my taste might have changed over the years, but who I am at the core has never really changed. Integrity, loyalty, things of that nature. And so, for instance, the same scenario. I've been around situations. As a matter of fact, we've had some mutual. I'm gonna word this very carefully. We've had some mutual business acquaintances that might have had disagreements with you and how you've handled something, and they've tried to say certain things.
Yeah.
And instead of me just being like, yeah, that Louis, I'm telling you, man. No, instead I'm like, there's two different sides.
Right.
Right.
I
I don't know all the details and all that, but I just know that, he's got a side as well. Like, I do my best. I'm not going to step on toes and I'm not going to start an argument. Right. But at the same token, I'm not going to just sit there and be like, yeah, screw him. Like, no. Like, hold up, bro. Like, I know him well enough to know that if you're having a disagreement right now, there's some sort of, miscommunication there.
Right.
Because I don't think you're the type of person that's out there just wronging anybody.
Yeah.
So if somebody feels wrong, there's obviously a miscommunication somewhere in there.
Somewhere.
But that's who I am. I'm the type of person that's going to try to see both sides and see some sort of a compromise or a meeting of the mind somewhere. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not going to be that type of person. And that's because of your consistency. Mm-hmm. And same with mine. Mm-hmm. Like if somebody showed up tomorrow and told me that you went out and slapped a baby, I'm not going to be like, what? He did what? No, I'm going to be like,
that baby must have fired first.
Yeah, right? Stupid baby. No, but I'm going to be like, it just doesn't sound right.
No.
It's just something, there's another half to that somewhere.
Right.
And that's because of your consistency.
Right.
Now, if you were running around slapping people, I'd be like, well, maybe you did. Who knows? But I think that's part of it, right? Is just being consistent and surround yourself with people who can appreciate that consistency. Kind of just stay the course, man.
Right.
That's my big takeaway for today is stay the course, right?
Yeah,
no matter who you are, no matter where you're at, stay the course, man. Remember what your goals are in life. Remember who it is you're trying to be. Remember what it is that you're wanting to emulate in life and make decisions based upon that.
And I think it's important to also note that you're not saying, well, we're not saying that you don't behave differently in certain scenarios.
Sure.
But there's certain things about you that don't change.
Correct.
Like your morals and values don't change based on where you are.
Correct.
But your language may clean up a little bit around certain people.
Of course, like on the radio.
I mean, like when we're doing this radio broadcast, there's certain words we just don't use.
Correct.
As soon as the microphones get turned off, we may use some words that we don't normally use.
We do use.
Normally do. In other words, that's more us.
Just look up George Carlin.
If you hang out with us, right?
Yeah.
But when you do this, you're just a little bit. You are who you are for what you do to some degree. And that's maturity, by the way,
sure.
and that's the way it should be. Now, some of you just aren't even mature to do that. You are, in other words, you hear what we're saying right now and say, "Well, yeah, I'm me all the time. I'm just being real."
You know what? Whenever I hear that I'm being real,
go ahead.
That's typically just an excuse to be an asshole.
Yeah,
that's really what it means, right?
There's one of the words we use a little bit more.
Nobody says I'm being real when they're being really nice to somebody and being complimentary and compassionate. Like they don't be like, "You're so you're a great person." I'm just keeping it real, man. You're a great person.
Well, that could be a flirtation. That could be a line.
Typically, it's
hey baby, you're hot. I'm just being honest.
Sure, I can see that.
You can say that.
But typically, I'm being real is
when
you're completely trashing somebody.
Right.
Like, I'm just keeping it real.
Right.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're being an asshole.
Yeah, you're just being.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah. and so I don't want anyone to accidentally take a point that you're making.
Right.
That I think is a very valid and good point, and try to turn that into an excuse. to not differentiate who they're in front of and how they
Right.
should speak. What we're talking about is morals and values,
Pretty much,
and
yeah.
ethics.
Yeah.
And those three things do not change based on location. They should not change based on location.
Yeah.
They should not change based on who you are with.
I also refer to them as principles.
Okay.
You know, and
Yeah.
which is weird because not to digress and get off a whole other point here, but
Right.
I'm concerned, if you will,
Right.
and a lot of the younger generation that I've met and dealt with, it feels as if principles are kind of like on their way out the door for some reason. I don't know if you've noticed that or not, but I've noticed that like principles seem very flexible these days, and I'm not sure if I'm cool with that.
I think, to be honest with you, I think they flex back and forth with every generation, and I don't know which one is more right or which one is more wrong. Billy the Kid was a kid with a gun, so I'm not so sure that principles and values were so good. I mean, slavery was real. So I mean, you know, there's. I don't necessarily. It just depends on who you are and where you are.
I don't mean more. I mean like principles in the sense of like stand for something or you'll fall for anything kind of deal. I mean like a moral compass, like a code. Like
I think people are more hard-headed now, or more. I think people are more less hard-headed. I think that's kind of, we wanted everybody to be a lot more malleable, and by doing that, I think some people are so malleable that whatever side they're on,
right.
they can be convinced to go further into that side,
Okay.
rather than kind of stay a little bit more towards the middle.
Well,
I think more people think they're in the middle, that they're not.
here's
They're
an
not in the
example.
middle at all.
I use and forgive me if this isn't like the best example. I literally
Okay.
I'm thinking of it as we're going.
Okay.
Because this wasn't really on our itinerary, but
Okay.
um,
And I lost the thing that you sent me, so
No worries.
I kept on trying to open it
no
right
worry.
now.
We're better just ad-lib it anyway.
Right on.
But like for instance, the like going to Vegas, right?
Right.
For me, my principles tell me that if I saw you being inappropriate with a woman out there, I'm going to say something to you. That's just my principle. That's just who I am, period. I'm going to say something. But I think that in today's day and age, it seems like that kind of principle, people say that they have it, but
Right.
then in certain situations, they're like, oh, they'll make excuses and justifications
Right.
as opposed to steadfast. No, I don't
Right.
care what your reasons are. Like, once again, I'm using an example. I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble, but
Right.
let's say you and Dana had a fight or something like that, and you guys were just going off or whatever, and then we went out to Vegas, and you were talking to some chick.
Right.
I think a lot of people would say that they have these principles, but in that situation, because they're friends with you, they'd be like, their friendship would win over the principle. Their friendship was, oh, you know what, screw her, man. She's been, teach her a lesson, this, that, and the other.
Right.
They would justify it somehow, as opposed to relying back on the principle of, I don't care who you are or what you're thinking, you don't do that.
Right.
Period. And so I see a lot less of that these days for some reason. Seems like there's a lot more quote unquote understanding as opposed to steadfast principles like no. And to me, I think that's kind of what we're getting back to is like, look, there's certain codes of conduct that you don't break.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Like that's what to me, that is two-faced. If you present yourself as somebody who believes these certain things, then you don't turn around and allow the opposite to take place or participate in the opposite.
Right.
Period. Under no circumstance. Like for instance, I'm not going to be in a situation where I'm going to allow somebody to talk bad about my wife or my friends. Period. Like I'm just not going to do it. I don't care who I'm around. I don't care if I'm sitting in front of like, a billionaire, or if I'm sitting in front of the president, or I'm sitting in front of whatever prestigious such and such is in front of me, and they start running their mouth, and it would behoove me to kind of agree with them because I need something out of this situation. I just wouldn't do it. Even if it was a situation where it was going to benefit me and us, and you would probably be like, hey, man, I still wouldn't do it because it's just not who I am. I wouldn't feel good about that. I wouldn't feel good getting a business deal knowing that I had to throw a friend under the bus just to get that business deal.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's not worth it. Yeah,
No
my
way.
bank account might
No
like
way.
it, but to me, it's not worth it because I just sold part of myself for that. No, man. So for me, that's the principle. And that's where this whole two-faced thing is. Like, my principle is be who you're going to be, period. I don't care the situation. I don't care the geography. It doesn't matter. This is who you're going to be and live with it.
Right.
And I've done that. I've had some consequences come my way that they sucked because of some of the decisions that I made. But there's a reason why I have no regrets right here.
Right.
Right? I've had no regrets on my arm since I was 21 years old, I think. And the reason why I have that, it doesn't mean that I don't make mistakes. It doesn't mean that I'm perfect, by no means. And it doesn't mean that I'm so pompous that I don't regret anything in my life.
Right.
What it means is I'm the type of person that I always do my best to make the best decision at that moment. And if it doesn't go the way I want it to go, I can't regret it because I made what I felt to be the best decision, and that's all I can ever do. I'm not going to make the right decision every single time.
Right.
I do my best. I take in all the different things, and I make what I feel to be the best decision for myself and everybody else involved. And a lot of times that's been working out for me. But there's been a few times that it didn't work out. I've had some horrible situations take place in my life because I made the wrong call.
Right.
But I don't regret that. Because I would regret it if I made that decision based upon bad information or bad philosophy. But I didn't do that. And so that's why I don't have any regrets. Because as long as you're living life that kind of a way, you can feel good and not having regrets. I did the best I could every day.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people do that these days.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to get across with the show, by the way.
You know, I think mine got solidified early on when, I had a record label and we would travel a little bit and go to some very questionable places. And
Right.
I was already straight and I was already with Dana and all that stuff. And the guys would be shocked that I would, leave certain situations.
Right.
And go home. And they would be shocked even more that I would tell Dana about the situations. For myself, not tell on them. I didn't give their information. I just gave her the information that anyone could probably use to say where I was and what I just witnessed.
Right.
And so
transparency is what we call
right,
that.
I was very transparent. And then they would always be like shocked, and they would make it a point, especially one of them, rest in peace, Joe Thomas. But he would always look at Dana and goes, "You have no idea what a good man you have," because he was used to being that leader of that group and kind of manufacturing a lot of very intense parties.
Right.
And so he would always be like, you got a good man there. He goes, "I don't know how he does it." He goes, that man just walks away from all kinds of stuff, Dana. And I try to put him in a lot of bad situations, and he still walks away from these situations.
Principles, man.
And so I learned early on how rewarding that was for me. I realized how good that felt. I felt so strong, is what I'm saying. I didn't feel weak. I didn't feel like I missed out. I didn't feel like I wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I felt very strong, and I think I was able to do that because as a very young kid, I was already placed in a lot of bad situations, and I used to do them.
Right.
And then there came a time where I just got sick of it, and when I left and came back here, even though these people were just coming into that kind of world, I was already out of that world, and I felt like, wow, I know what that's going to feel like tomorrow. I know what that's going to feel like later. I know what it is. There's no I wish I should have, could have, would have. It's all kind of the same. A spider's a spider when you lay down beside her, and all the spiders kind of feel the same. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And so you may make up stuff in your head.
I think
they're
you said that
different.
before, huh?
Yeah, I've said it before. they might sound different, feel different, come in different colors and all that stuff.
Right.
And you may think, and you may put all these different stories around it. There's all different stories, but at the end of the day, same.
Still a spider.
Still a spider.
Yeah, no, I agree, man.
And I like my spider.
I think that
I love my spider.
to me, I think to use one of my phrases, it goes back to my concept of you can be right or you can be happy.
Yeah.
We can justify all sorts of decisions and behaviors.
Right.
We do it to ourselves. We do it to others all the time.
Right.
I can justify it. I can give you all sorts of reasoning, and I could probably get a whole army to back me up
Yep.
and agreeing with me and all sorts of stuff.
Right.
Doesn't mean I'm going to be happy.
Long term.
I might be
long
right.
term.
Yeah.
Long term.
Well, even short term, that you confuse pleasure with happiness a lot of times.
That's what I'm saying, though. But
Yeah.
they do.
They
but
do,
people
I know.
do confuse that.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm
they
saying.
need to watch my happiness episode.
Long term.
Yeah.
That's not the happiness you're seeking.
Yeah, I mean, don't confuse happiness with pleasure.
Yeah.
Pleasure is
Yeah.
great, but pleasure goes away.
If that happiness was long term, you and I would be single.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get that straight.
Oh,
For the
absolutely.
things that you and I have experienced, there's no damn way we'd be married if that happiness was longer term.
Correct. But I think that's what it is you can be right or you can be happy.
Right.
And if you want happiness, then you got to be true to yourself, and you
Yeah.
got to find some principles that work for you.
Yeah.
And don't be malleable. It's
No.
okay to be open-minded. It's okay to modify or evolve based upon new experiences and new information. But this whole wavering back and forth and kind of being a different person all around, that's just not going to work.
Right.
It's not going to give you the fulfillment that you're looking for in life.
Right.
It's going to leave you this empty feeling where you feel like you're constantly chasing something.
For real.
And I think that there's a lot of that going around, man. I think a lot of people are maybe, I don't know if scared is the right word, but it feels like a lot of people are just scared to make a stand sometimes.
Yeah.
They're afraid, like in some of the situations you're referring to. A lot of people are afraid to be the guy or the girl even that their friends are like mocking, like, oh, come on, man, like you said they used to call you golden boy or whatever.
Yeah, golden boy.
Or like I don't really drink nowadays. I'm not in recovery or anything. I just don't really have a taste for it, don't have a need for it.
Right.
But when I go out if I'm with my friends watching football, they're like, "Oh, come on, man, have one beer, sissy, whatever." I'm like, "You can call me what you want, bro.
Right.
I don't really want one. I'm good." So I think a lot of people are afraid of being the center of attention in that way.
Right.
They'd rather just blend in and kind of just be a part of the group, and they sacrifice their morals a little bit sometimes to fit in.
Right.
And my point is, it's not worth it, because that empty feeling you're going to get, once again, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So in that moment, you might think that you're doing the right thing because you just don't want to stand out, so you just want to blend in. But then your feelings aren't going to blend in afterwards. Right. Later on that night or the next day, when you guys start answering to some of the things that took place, you're not going to feel very good about that.
Right.
And then you're going to live your life with a lot of, I wish I could have, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I should have done this. So don't live your life that way. Because that was the other half of my no regrets, by the way. When people used to ask me that, was I made decisions based upon what I felt was the right thing, number one. And number two, you can't, oh my God, I just had a brain fart. I completely forgot what I was going to say.
No way.
I did.
Just went silent?
Completely left me. It was about the no regrets part. What was I saying before that? Help me remind. I'm asking the guy with the worst memory.
I was going to say, the second you even say that, my mind goes,
yeah. Oh, there we go. The other half of it was don't do something if you think you could regret it in the future. That was my other half of that.
Yeah.
In other words, I'll make decisions, the decisions I made, I don't regret because I made them with the best intentions, essentially. And then what keeps me on that path is when a new decision comes to me, if I think there's a possibility I'm going to regret this in the future, I just don't do it.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds very square, very, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You can call me whatever you want, bro. I'm happy. I'm good.
Right.
I got a good life. I don't have to worry about, is my wife going to find something out? I don't have to turn my phone over anytime I'm around her. Like, I don't have any of those worries. Right. I'm like totally good. I'm happy. I don't have to worry about, the cops or anything. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I have a carefree life right now. Yeah. And I have that because I make those decisions. Because I want happiness. I don't want to be right. I don't want to have a situation where I can justify it right now, but then later on, it's kind of shady. Some things are going to happen. I'd rather be happy. And so I make my decisions based upon what's going to make me happy.
Right. One of my problems, though, has been that I killed something in my brain, I think, in those early years that could give regrets. And so I worried early on a lot. And I know Dana still sometimes, remembers these conversations and therefore kind of brings it up that I don't have a guilt button. I don't have a guilt feeling. And it's a protective mechanism that my brain just did a long time ago. So unfortunately, I can't gauge it based on whether I'm going to have a regret or not. Instead, what I like to gauge it on is, will you be able to depend on me the way I want you to depend on me later?
That's a good one.
And so I when I look at my behaviors, if I'm questioning a behavior at all, and typically my instincts kind of are really good now anyway, but throughout the years it wasn't so instinctual, and I had to make the decision, right? And so by making the decisions, I had to gauge it on, well, if I did this, would you look at me like a person that could not be trusted by you?
Right.
Or would you look at me as a person that you could confide in? Or would you look at me as a person that when you were in trouble and you were drowning, if I'm that phone call? And so since I take pride in those things, and those things give me such pleasure, and those things give me, reason to live and reason to carry on in tough times, and they give me my purpose in life, then those mean so much to me that I can't confuse myself whether I'm going to regret it or not, because I fear that I won't. And so I can't use that as strength. You know what I mean? I just can't.
Well, I think I share with you the ability to not feel guilt, I guess. And mine, very similar. Mine was a defense mechanism early on. But I guess that's why I committed so hard to nobility, if you will.
Right.
Like that's why I have samurais on me, the Bushido code, that kind of stuff.
Right.
So for me, what I would regret wouldn't necessarily be letting people down. It'd be letting myself down.
Okay.
Because I pride myself on making the right decision. I pride myself on doing the next right thing.
I can see that. And
so if I felt that I stepped outside of that for whatever reason, that's where my regret would be.
You're a good warrior.
My regret would be that I didn't stay true to my code.
Right.
Regardless if I hurt, I don't want to sound bad, but I couldn't care less if I hurt someone. Whatever, it is what it is. If I hurt you, that's on you, and you took it a different way. That's how I justify it. But I would have to live with myself knowing that I didn't stick to my code.
Right.
Somehow, some reason, I stepped outside of myself.
Right.
And that's what would bother me.
Right.
Not as much the result, but the decision making, I guess.
Right.
Because I share the good or bad. I share the no conscious thing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it is bad.
Yeah,
and
it's come in handy in my life, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
It has. But where it doesn't come in handy is that it doesn't allow. That's the one piece that I can't offer Dana.
Right.
That I know that she wishes that I had stronger. You know, and again, she does bring it up, knowing that because she knows my deal. She knows the story. She's heard everything.
Well, definitely.
She's talked to my old friends. She's talked to a lot of people that in my past, and so she knows where I'm at with that. And so, unfortunately, it's the one piece that I can't give her is that ultimate security and knowing that I'm gonna feel horrible about it. But I kind of wish I did.
Yeah, I mean,
not really, because it doesn't look comfortable.
Sure.
See, even just saying that, just my protective mechanism goes,
no,
really, bro?
No.
You know, that little red midget in my brain goes, no, you don't, because you see how that tears people up.
Well,
whatever that feeling is that people get, I feel so good.
Guilt.
Whatever that is, because I felt a stomach pain when I, early on, I rember this one argument with Dana, I felt that real stomach pain. I was like, oh my God, is this what it feels? It was a horrible feeling.
We had a burrito earlier. Well, on that note, man, I see the time's coming up, so I think I'm gonna do my 3 things here.
All right, I'm gonna turn my microphone down. Have at it.
Thank some sponsors and whatnot. Let's get the house cleaning done. So first of all, thank you for tuning in. If you guys are listening to this to WPSN99.com live, we appreciate you. If you're watching this on one of our other things, the iTunes, Dharma Time, whatever, or YouTube, whatever it is, make sure you subscribe. We appreciate you listening. But let's get to the 3 things, right? So trying to wrap up today. We're all talking about kind of doing the right thing, if you will. Don't be two-faced. And there's a couple tips here to kind of keep you focused on that. The first one I have here is keep in your mind you can always be right or you can be happy. Being right means making decisions based upon some stuff that you can justify now, as opposed to what's going to give you long-term happiness. So make decisions on being happy. What's going to make me happy is following who I am, following what I want to be in life. The second one is do the right thing based upon your path. And that kind of coincides with what the dope doctor was saying earlier, and that is whatever your path is, stake a claim and be that person. Once again, you can grow and evolve, but be who you're going to be and make decisions based upon that, not what you think other people want you to be. And then the third one is make sure you surround yourself with some friends that are going to keep you accountable. Make sure you surround yourself with people who aren't just yes men, who are going to say, hey, you're screwing up right now. You need to do this instead. You do those 3 things, and that's a great start to help you find some happiness and some consistency so you don't come off two-faced for everybody. Having said that, let's thank some sponsors real quick. We got, I'm going to start out with Retreat Premier Addiction Treatment Centers. They're a fantastic facility. The Couch Live is going to do some stuff with them coming up, so make sure you tune into the Couch Live on WPSN99.com as well. Myself and the Dope Doctor do some things with them. Although I think the Dope Doctor's going solo for this next one.
It's this weekend. We're going to be down there this weekend, broadcasting this weekend from 11 to 1:30.
Right on. And then you have Journey Pure, which Journey Pure just joined us at the races over in Las Vegas. We didn't really talk about that much on this show, but we were just in Vegas and hanging out at the MGM Grand there with Jamie, one of his friends. So Journey Pure is fantastic. Ben, yes. Journey Pure is a fantastic sponsor of this show and the Now Matters More Foundation and everything that we do. We got Orange County Drug Free Coalition. We got a run walk coming up. No, just a walk, actually, down in Lake Eola coming up on the 29th, I think it is. So I'll be down there. My family will be down there. If you're local, by all means, come down, join, say hi. I think you can register on Eventbrite. It's a free event. You get some cool giveaways. It's a fun time, a family atmosphere. And it's our first time in Lake Eola in a while, I think, for me anyways. So it's bound to be a good time. Make sure you come out. And then last but not least,
wait a minute. The current Mrs. America is going to be there.
Is that confirmed now?
That's confirmed. The current Mrs. America is going to be there, and the one from 20 years ago, Renee, is actually going to be the main speaker.
Just said 20 years ago. Really? You got to put her out like that, man?
No, she put it out like that.
Okay.
I mean, she should be proud to be like that. Look at the way she looks. Are you kidding me?
And then last but not least, we got the Now Matters More Foundation. I'm the president. He's the founder. Our whole mission in the foundation is to get people help with drug and alcohol addiction. So if you want to know more about who we are, what we do, if you want to donate, go to nowmattersmore.org. Or if you or somebody you know is dealing with addiction, you're trying to find a way to navigate the system, you need some help financially, whatever it may be, you just need to talk. 1-833-NOW-MATTERS. That's 1-833-NOW-MATTERS. Give us a call and we'll take care of you. I think that's it. So now that you know better, do better. Peace.
think he plans it all out? Or just makes it up as he goes along?
Human knowledge belongs to the world.